Hi everyone, welcome to Miss Adams Teaches Poetry. Now this video is on the Edexcel Conflict collection. Some of my lovely students have asked me to create a video about how to revise and how to choose the poems to learn your quotes from. So that's what this is, particularly for my lovely Grainville people. So I'm going to take you through like the big themes, what you need to cover, and how to select the poems to do like a really good deep dive in and learn your quotes for. So let's get started. Okay, so one of the questions that I get asked all the time is, do I revise every single poem in the collection? And of course, the answer is yes. Clearly you do revise every single poem because anything could come up. But there is a kind of a difference. Rather than doing like this most super thorough revision of all 15 poems, what you can do is you can make sure that you've got a working knowledge of all 15, so that whatever came in front of you, you'd go, oh, it's this poem, yeah, I remember the content of this, I know what the context is, I can talk about the form, I know where my kind of key points are. So you've got working knowledge of everything, but approximately 6 poems, what I call the big 6, you're going to want to have in-depth knowledge of, i.e. quotes learned, quotations learned. You don't need to learn quotations for every single poem, you just need to have enough quotations and across enough poems that whatever poem is put in front of you, you've got something in your memory that you can compare it with, because remember, you do get the copy of the named poem. So however you want to do it, sometimes I get my students to create like a little document like this. So on an A4 sheet, they've got what's the message and meaning of the poem, what are the key contextual points, because remember it's worth 25%, what is the form of the poem and why has it been done that way, like what is the impact, connections, the major themes that it could come up with, like and what poems you connect it to, and then an area to jot down your 5 quotes, 5-ish quotes, and then analysis coming off. Now, if that's the struggle, use my videos because they're separated out into context and form in one like 5-minute video, and then a slightly longer one where I pick out 5 quotes, and then analyze them. So that might help you out. Okay, so how do you choose your big 6? This is a tricky one because it has to be dependent on you and how you respond to the poems. But one way to do it is to start off by kind of separating the poems out into kind of the theme. So, you know, this is generic again. You might have different themes in your mind that you want to do. Like I realized I've not put death on there, but I sort of felt like it was part of war, but you do you know what I mean? You could have death or conflict as a theme, and then just kind of work out where your poems lie. And then you're kind of thinking to yourself, okay, so you know, there are only a few that are on nature. So if a nature poem comes up, I have to have one of them. And then you can look at like what's come up most recently to see how likely it is that there might be a repeat or something along those lines. So start off by creating a table like this. Use mine if you so wish, but add in ones that, you know, if there are other themes that you want to focus on, do. And then what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you've got poems for each theme that work, okay? And then I'm going to show you how to make sure you've got the right ones. So for example, if you list all of the poems, okay, that you've got in front, you know, that you've got as possibilities, so 15 poems there, and then once you think you've got your big 6, and by the way, a big 7 or a big 8 is absolutely fine, you might then do the following things. So you think to yourself, right, if a poison tree came up, what would I compare it to? No problem if it was sort of frustration or anger or injustice, or if it was relationships, cousin Kate. Okay. Destruction of Sennacherib. Okay, charge, obviously. If the prelude comes up, then, oh, exposure. And prelude is a possible this year, definitely. Exposure, because power of nature. The man he killed, right, if it's relationships, I might do cousin Kate. If it's war, exposure, charge. Cousin Kate, Katrin. Half caste, no problem. Exposure, charge, or yeah, charge. Charge the light brigade, exposure. You see what I'm saying? So you work your way through and you just go, no matter what comes up, I've got a solution, okay? Now, don't just choose my list, all right? Because, for example, you might hate the poem caption and you don't want to be learning quotes and practicing writing on a poem that you hate, because it's not going to do it justice. So put in poems that you like, put in poems that you feel confident with, and then go through the process. And if you need, do you know what I mean? If you need 7 poems or 8 poems, then you do you. That's the most important thing. You've seen this hopefully on my prediction video, but this is just what's come up so far and what my predictions are. That just might help you out a little bit, but I go through more of the analysis in my other video. But there you've got my predictions to help you out a little bit there. Okay, that's it from me. I'm going to try and put together a video on how to compare the poems specifically for the conflict collection. So I will try really hard to get that out before the exam on Tuesday. So watch this space. Hopefully that was helpful. Give me a shout if you need anything else. And most importantly, happy revising.